Verzeo, your one-stop solution to everything learning.
We're delighted to have Saurabh Saxena among us. Mr. Saurabh is a senior developer at Booking.com and a tech advisor for a bunch of startups. He's a hardcore techie and has worked on almost every stack out there. He has also mentored more than 50 developers and at more than 50 startups on tech fronts. Over to you, sir. We are honored to have you here.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks, Sakshi, for a quick introduction. Okay, so maybe in India, it's a good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining the session. Let me first introduce myself, maybe while going through this PPT, a small presentation, and it will be very less descriptive. So we will make sure like we will have this interactive session and people can ask question on the fly. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I think hope everybody can see my screen now. So yeah, so today's topic is about it's debunking common myths about full stack development. So there are a lot of common myths about the full stack development, and there are a lot of doubts that people have, mostly like freshers. As I can see, like most of the students who have joined in this call is from third and fourth year. So we'll try to like demystify or understand like what are the common myths, and also uh, make sure to clarify all your doubts regarding the full stack development which you have in your mind, and also understand to make sure like how is look like for you to like go towards becoming full stack development when you passed out from your college, and how does it look like in the long run. So yeah, okay. And also you have a chat. If you feel like anytime you want to have any question, you can just ping it in a chat and we can take it from there. Okay, so brief introduction about myself. I'm Saurabh. I'm a senior full stack dev at Booking.com, and I've been working Booking nearly 3 years. And prior to Booking, I work on one of my own startup for 5 years back in India, and I was building like end-to-end product, which is again full stack. And beside that, I also worked as a CTO for one of the startup, which is AI-based company in India. So mostly my experience working in on backend, front end, or databases and DevOps, and also on building the system design for the architecture at scale, where like people are using at a scale of like 100 million users like every day inside Booking. And currently I live in Amsterdam. And prior to Amsterdam, I used to live in Bangalore, and I passed out from VIT Vellore back in 2013, computer science. Yeah, I've been mentoring a lot of students and a lot of developers and building products and also building startups on tech fronts. And I've mentored a lot of students in programming, which is basically, again, the full stack, backend, front end, also on system design, building scalable products, mostly India startups based out of Europe, US, and Nigeria. And I've mentored more than 1,000 plus developers, and few of my developers got placed in Amazon, Microsoft, and even in Facebook recently. So yeah, okay, so I have the chat open. Okay, people say, okay, maybe loud. Can you, maybe you can just say if it is loud now. Can you hear me now? Maybe Siddharth, you can give a yes or no if it's better now. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's start. I have the chat open here, and anybody who feels better, like they have any question, you just feel free to ping anytime here. Okay, so what are the full stack developer roles and responsibility in general? So I'll just give you like the definition which most of the students have in third and fourth year. So what basically people think it's like a backend development. There is a language that you need to learn, like a MVC framework, and there is like databases in between, and you have a front end, which can be in any of the front end frameworks like React or Vue. So, but in general, like if you talk about like in real life scenarios, like full stack developer roles and responsibility are beyond that. You need to understand the product from the user perspective. You need to have eye for a user. Let's say when you're building a simple product, let's say booking.com, and if you are as a full stack developer, you will have to think your shoes in terms of like a hotel, as a hotel partner, how you're going to use the product. So you need to know the use cases to understand while developing this whole business logic on the back end. So full stack developer is just not necessarily that you need to just build an API, because there is a common misconception that people think you have to build an API and that's it. But if you think, if you see like an actual scenario, you actually start with a discussion and design. So full stack developer is also involved in a lot of discussion, because you will be involving as a lot more in terms of deciding the right technology. We will discuss about the different technologies as well as we go along in this presentation. But as a full stack developer, your major role is not only just the coding part, but also you need to understand the product or maybe your business use case from a user perspective. So whether your user is a hotel user or whether it is your customers who are booking online on booking.com. So once you understand the roles and responsibilities of like your user base, and then you start designing the system. So designing system is not basically full stack developers, but full stack developer work along parallel with the product manager and designer. So yeah, we will talk about a little more details, but as you can understand, it also involves some concerns for you to know the business aspect of a product, to understand product thoroughly, because when you're developing code, you will be handling a lot of use cases around your APIs or around your, let's say, backend logic in general. So if you don't have the proper business logic knowledge around that, you might be missing some use cases and your product will not be full-fledged, or it will have some missing use cases. Yeah. So yeah, anybody have any question? Just feel free to ping anytime if you have any other basic question as well. Okay, so let's talk about some common myth regarding the full stack development. Let's start with full stack developers need to know everything, right? How many people of you think like it's true? Maybe you can just answer yes or no. Maybe any volunteer. Okay. Oh, so can you guys hear me? Maybe I think I'll just try to remove my headphones. Is it better now? Yeah, I think maybe the headphone is just minimizing the sounds. Cool. So perfect. So now everybody can hear me. So I just want to know from all the students who have joined, do you think like full stack developer need to know everything, like in general about the product, like end to end? It involves like development, backend, front end, databases, and also like deployment or maybe security or testing. So what do you think? Okay. So Bhanu says yes. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody, any other volunteer? Maybe we can have like at least 2, 3 volunteers. We have many people in the call. Okay, maybe people are very lazy. It's 6:30 in India. Okay, so yeah, so in general, like full stack developer not need to know like everything, but they need to know a lot. So everything covers like mostly like everything, but in general, full stack developer need to know a lot. So what does it mean? Like what they need to know? So they need to know the first, we already discussed about the business aspect. The second is they need to know about the backend, like what are the different APIs you need to build. You need to decide the right technology. Like say if you are building a specific application, like web application, you need to know what technology fits. Let's say in college, you must be learning Java. There is Python, there is PHP, there are many languages like Ruby and many frameworks. So you need to first decide which framework or which language fits well for the backend. So it always depends upon your use case. Sometimes Python is better than Java. Sometimes Java is better than Python. So all depends on your product use case. Let's say if you're dealing with data analytics or some kind of streaming, then there can be a different languages that can fit into play. So you have like Python can be really good there. If you're working in streaming, then might be .NET will be good. But if you have like something very specific, like say general websites, then might be Ruby on Rails or maybe a PHP or even any other language like say Node.js, like JavaScript or Node.js, but TypeScript in the backend as a language. It can also make the deal. So all depends on business use case. You need to know what language is fit for your backend. The second, you need to know what database, like how do you store your data? That is also the very much important. So if you have the structured data, you define like say SQL database. If it is non-structured, you go with NoSQL database. We will not get into much more detail about SQL and NoSQL, but in general, you need to know like what kind of data you're going to store and which database is the right choice for your use case. Then it comes to the front end. So you need to know like which is the front end framework that can fit for your need. It all depends on, there can be a React can be well, there can be a Vue.js. So there are different frameworks can actually fit your need, but all depends on, let's say if you're talking about React and Vue, both are equally well. And if you want to go with the lightweight, then React is good compared to Vue. And sometimes Vue is good compared to React. So it all depends on your also your resource capability in your company. So mostly these are the basic things. Then it comes like a testing. So as a backend developer, full stack developer, you also need to know the integration tests and unit tests, but you don't need to know the manual testing. You don't need to do some quality testing. So that is like not comes under the roles and responsibility of full stack developer. Then second is like maybe a design aspect. So if you have kind of a designing the whole system, so mostly when you are the level 1, you don't design the system. When you become like senior full stack, then you participate in mostly in designing. So as a beginner, like for you guys, you don't need to be a part of a design, but you will be a part of a subset of the whole responsibility of senior dev, which is mostly the development of front end, back end, and databases. And they're kind of a bit of integration test and unit test. These are the things that a full stack developer need to know on back end as well as on the front end, both aspects. So this is how the full stack developer roles and responsibility. And also you can see like full stack developer not need to know like everything, but they need to know a lot compared to the back end and full stack. So let's see about the second myth. So full stack developer need to know only technical aspect of the project, right? So I think this is also not true, right? Anybody feel like this is not this should be true? Like people need to know only technical aspects, right? So full stack developer need to know only technical aspect of the project? No, they need to know the technical as well as a business aspect of it. And this is a very critical demand. So let's say if you are in third and fourth year and future you want to groom or become a full stack developer, you should first invest. You have to change your analytical thinking about the product. It's just not about just building an API or building some script in the backend. You need to know, understand the product, understand the need, understand like how the product will evolve. So maybe you're talking about MVP version, then how it goes from MVP to 1 year down the line or 2 year down the line. So maybe this initial thought you have to have when you are trying to get into this domain. So most of the full stack developer is just people think like they are like one developer or like say mean stack developer. But if you want to become a really good or competitive full stack developer, you need to go a little bit beyond that. Think about the system, like how the system will be. And based on that, you start designing your APIs or you start designing your database schemas. So because at certain point, if you don't think those concerns in the future, then your system will fail. As a full stack developer, you might fail in terms of scaling the product. So that scaling can be on the back end and can be on the front end. So if you don't understand your business use case, like let's say today you have 10,000 users and you're trying to scale your product to multiple cities, then it becomes like lakhs of user. Then slowly you want to scale your product to, let's say, multiple states, then it becomes nearly, let's say, multi-millions of users, right? So you have to keep those things in mind to design the system. So in front-end aspect, you need to know how you scale your components, how you scale your front-end. And if you're in backend, you need to know how do you scale your backend APIs. And similarly for the databases, you need to know like how to scale the data. So the scale thing is very much important nowadays because lots of startup, they already have lots of user base. 1 million user base is just like people are getting it like in few months. So when you design a system, you always have to have in a mind the business aspect, so you can align your technical roadmap about the whole development in parallel. Okay, so do you have any question? Like anybody have any question regarding this, or just any query so far? Okay, cool. So the next thing is like people have a common myth regarding full stack developer is like they are the more efficient than individual backend and front end developers. So how many people agree on this? They're the more efficient than individual backend and the front end. Anybody agree like with this, or anybody disagree with this statement? Bhanu Prakash, anybody else, any other volunteer? Okay, so I think still I feel maybe silence is golden. So I would assume that people might agree or might not agree. So let me just clarify about this. So full stack developer is not necessarily be more efficient, right? So yeah, full stack developer know a lot compared to a backend and front end, but you cannot say they're the more efficient than individual backend, because the individual backend, when you're saying the efficient, you are actually comparing with the throughput, the work done by the individual backend developer compared to the full stack developer. So you cannot compare because it depends on the efficiency of a developer. So the throughput can be different. The full stack developer can do the less work compared to the individual backend developer. But in general, like if you have a full stack developer, then you have like some sort of a more backup in your team compared to having the individual backend and front end. So one guy can take care of the transition of the whole software. But again, it creates a bottleneck also in your team if you are solely depending on full stack developer. So you cannot compare the efficiency. It all depends on individuality of a person or the efficiency of a person. But in general, like full stack developer need to know a lot compared to individual backend and front end. So the scope is more. The next myth is all full stack developers are having the same skill set. So that's also not true because we have different tech stacks nowadays. So there is two common tech stack, which is like MERN and then Mean. So which is for Angular, and then there is for React, and then there is again for Vue.js. And then there are so many other different frameworks apart from front end. And each companies have their own different custom framework as well. If you uh, see like the big tech companies like Fang, they have their own custom framework. So the skill set, the technical skill set for all full stack developer are not same, but the conceptually, if you talk about like the backend and front end, the job is actually the same. So the tools and technologies can be different, the skill set can be different, but in terms of what they want to achieve or the end goal, or maybe you can say the system that they work is almost same. So the APIs, if there is a developer who's working on, let's say on Node.js, they might be developing APIs in Node.js. There is other developers, they might be developing in Spring Boot or Java. So, but actually they're working on APIs. So it's both are the same thing, but the skill set is different, right? So all full stack developers doesn't have the same skill set. So that's also a myth. And nowadays, JavaScript is pretty much most famous language on internet nowadays. And if you see, JavaScript is the, people say it's like, there's another myth, JavaScript is the only language used uh, in full stack. So that also not necessarily true, because we have different frameworks in the backend, and that is used in most of the companies. But yeah, it is one of the most famous language, right? So we cannot say the only language, and it should be like one of the famous language that is used in full stack. So yeah, if you're really good in JavaScript or TypeScript, you have a pretty much lot more broad scope while looking out for jobs in the future. But it's not necessarily to be the JavaScript is the only language, because a lot more companies, when they scaled out, the backend infrastructure is migrated from Node.js to different other frameworks. So mostly, primarily the bigger companies, like if you talking about the scale of 100 million user base or at that scale, then there are the companies, most of the companies, they migrated from like any specific, the recent frameworks to specifically like Java. But yes, JavaScript is one of the most stylish language, or you can say it's the most famous language among the recent times. And yes, if you are really good master in JavaScript, then it doesn't take much time for you to learn any of the backend and front end framework. Because when you are mastered in React, let's say when you mastered in JavaScript or TypeScript, you can easily adapt to the concept in React, similarly to Vue or Angular. So you have a broader scope, you can easily learn and transition, because the concepts of fundamentals are mostly same. It's just like some of the concepts written in a specific language are built on top of like vanilla JavaScript. So if you understand the code really well, it doesn't take much time for you to understand the new front-end frameworks. Similarly comes to the backend. So the Node.js is like, if you're really good in JavaScript and TypeScript, it is easy for you to learn Node.js, and just a few concepts in Node.js that you need to know. But in terms of a language, you can understand the code really well. So yeah, JavaScript is the most famous language, and I would say, yes, you can have that as a primary language for you for the next 2 years. But when you grow from, let's say, down the line for 5 to 6 years, you will see like there is like many different languages that comes into picture when you're talking about this full stack. Okay, anybody have any question so far? You can just ping if you have any question, if you have anything like apart from what we have discussed, that is also fine. Okay, maybe you all clarify so far. So again, okay, Muhammad has replied, no. Wonderful. Anybody else? We have two volunteers like who are actually energetic and who are really need to this. Anybody else like who think like you have any question? Try to ask if you have any questions. Feel free to just ping in a chat. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I would say maybe if you guys in third and like your early of career, try to clarify your questions, try to clarify your queries as much as possible. Because these are the opportunities that you will find to clarify your doubts. And if you have any other questions, like not specific to the full stack, maybe in general, you can also ask that. Okay, so let's maybe move. I'll just give you the brief overview of like how is the life of full stack developer at booking.com. So I'll just give you first overview of booking.com. Booking.com has nearly around 16,000 employees and they have nearly 200 plus offices across the globe. And Booking has headquartered in Amsterdam for tech. And if you just talk about in numbers, booking.com will cross like 1 billion booking in a year this year. And we have around nearly, I would say like 300 million plus properties on Booking. So you can see the scale of as a platform. And Booking.com is nearly 25-year-old company. So for a full stack developer, it's very critical role in Booking because you deal with like almost like you interact with different kind of stakeholders. So if I just brief you like how it looked like for me as a full stack developer. So when we start like working on a product, it starts with the designing phase, which is basically the product manager and designer will involve with the clients to get the requirement and understand the use cases, understand the business on the grounds, like how the user will behave. So once they have the clear understanding, they come up with a design, and that design will be reviewed internally by all the members of the team, including the full stack developer. So full stack developer has a critical role to give the inputs like on the front end and the back end aspects both as well. So you can see the criticality of it of full stack developer compared to the individual back end and individual front end. You have the option to give more inputs and to actually align the product with the tech and the business aspects. So once you have this clarity, then the product manager or the engineering manager, they decide the roadmap. Then as a full stack developer, you try to come up with a design, the system design of the product, which is like how the system would be, like how the system would be scaling, what are the different APIs that you need to build, what are the different microservices that you need to build. And if you need like some databases, if you need some queue or like Kafka, or maybe it's like some NoSQL database or SQL database. So those kind of whole discussions that, or maybe kind of a design doc that full stack developers needs to prepare in Booking. And then once you have the clarify like all the backend, then you start with the front end, maybe the technologies and the best practices. So one thing I will tell you, like it's very important when you work on anything, any specific technology or framework or any kind of task, you always focus on what is the best practice to do it. So try to make sure that you know the best practice of doing each and everything. That's where you will actually build a polished product or you will build the best product. So yeah, so as a full stack developer, you also explore from the front end aspects. You give the inputs to a designer if there is anything needs to be changed, and then you start design like having some like a let's say a task or maybe a timeline for you to work on it. And when you work on the back end, you make sure the product should be having the integration test, unit test. I'm not sure like how many of you already know end-to-end test. How does it work? It's basically you test the whole system programmatically. So you don't have like manual testing, but you actually mimic everything through different type of tests. So this is what the backend does. Similarly, for the front end, you write different tests to implement it, and then you actually pilot the product as an MVP for some set of users. And if everything works fine and the business has a good value proposition, then you try to scale for much wider audience. So that's how the typically the full stack developer life cycle in Booking look like. Sometimes it's quite challenging and sometimes it's fun. Anybody have any question regarding this? No. Again, silence is golden. We can move. Okay. Yeah. So Monish has a very good question. Sir, I'm just starting my second year in engineering. Which programming language or the order of languages do you suggest me to start with full stack? So a very good question, Monish. So if you are in second year, the first thing I will recommend you to understand, uh, once you know, like say, I'm assuming that you know the basics of programming, right? Which is like very basics, like data structures, maybe basically how the data is stored in memory, like say arrays and different type of data structures, so that you already know. So once you have a basic understanding of data structure, not the extreme knowledge, but the basic is also good enough. You understand basics of DS and algo. I think you have one course. If you have already been through, then it's good. But that is the first most thing. Once you know that, then the second thing is you need to know one language. Don't rush through like different languages. So when you're starting, like say this journey of full stack, first I would say like start with the compile language. Mostly Java, and there is like in your college maybe it's C++, but if you have Java, it's really good because it will help you to understand the basic core concepts of programming, which any scripting language will not do that, because a scripting language is built in such a way that it has a higher level function. It has like higher level APIs to interact. So you don't write code from scratch. So to become first, you have to become a very good at programming, which is like you need to have a very good like data structure usage. You need to know how you are when you're writing code, you should be able to write the efficient code in terms of time complexity and this. So you need to have a basic knowledge of this. Once you know like how to write like efficient code in one of the compiled language, it can be anything. It doesn't matter. It has to be Java. It can be C++ as well. You just need to know one object oriented compiled language. So once you know this, that means like you are now good enough to know the basics of programming, and you understand like how the code compiles, how it works internally. So once you have a thorough understanding of this, then maybe let's say you invest nearly 3 months, and then after that, the next 3 months you should focus on one scripting language. You can pick up like any language. So I would say, let's say if you're taking JavaScript as a scripting language, that's also good. Then try to learn Node.js with the backend framework. You can learn Express or maybe any other Sales.js or any other framework. So just pick up one framework and one backend language, and try to do some kind of a hobby project, which we will discuss in the next section. So hobby project in a sense, let's say you have like some of the things that you do it in a day-to-day life in your college. Try to automate this. Let's say you like every day you enter your attendance manually in your system. Maybe you can write a small Python program to do that. So any basic job, to try to apply your knowledge into the real world scenarios in your day-to-day life. That will help you to boost your knowledge, and also you can see your productiveness, or you can see your output or throughput. So when you're learning something, try to apply that immediately. Find use case with yourself. Like don't just think about like any product or any basic uh, small project that you can build, which can help you in achieving any task which you do in a day-to-day life. So once you know this backend stuff, like you know the language, and then you go with the databases. Like try to master start with the MySQL database, then go with NoSQL. So NoSQL is not needed for you in the first let's say 6 years, 6 months of preparation. Just know MySQL, because MySQL will help you to learn a lot more concepts. So just understand one of the SQL database. It can be MySQL, it can be Postgres. And then once you master like one SQL database, then go to the front end. Then choose one framework and then explore that whole front end framework. And I would only say like go through the official documentation. Don't spend much time on learning through like different blogs. Might be you will find useful, but all these vlogs and YouTube videos are actually derived from the official documentation of the language and framework. So if you train your mind in such a way that you can read those documentation really well, then that will give you a boost among other developers. So yeah, so this is like the initial roadmap for you. Like first is like your compile language, then you need to know the scripting language in the backend, and then you go with the databases, then the front end. And then always try to implement some small projects for yourself, try to automate something. And then once you build that, then you can actually uh, build something end to end, where you actually let's say involve the entire experience of backend databases and front end. So you can build some any Chrome plugins, Chrome extensions. So there are so many use cases that you find like in a day-to-day life. So maybe you can organize a bookmark better or something like this. Just think about a problem which you face in a day-to-day life and try to automate or build some solution on top of it. I would give you a very good example. Let's say on a birthday, you get so many wishes on WhatsApp. So try to think about a bot that can auto reply to those people. Let's say thank you for all those people with a name and with some message. So you don't need to type. So maybe something, some smart automation in a day-to-day life that you can think of. This is just quick few examples, but you can find there are a lot more examples in your life. So this is, I think, the early phase for you. And then always try to apply knowledge, to try to build something. That is the only way to learn. I think that will help. Monish, do you have any other question? Do you get all the points? Okay, cool. Yeah, and also there are a few quiet tips that I will definitely share you in this one of the slides. Okay, so what are the interesting projects that you should work on? So there are no such interesting projects, first of all. Like people think like, okay, I will work on this. Maybe I will, there are some set of projects that you can work on. You will get the knowledge of it, particular language or framework. So that doesn't work like this. So what you need to know is you need to find a problem. Just look for a problem around you and try to build something around that line. And if you stuck somewhere, try to use multiple platforms like Stack Overflow. You have Telegram groups, you have work Facebook groups, you have different Slack open source groups. So you can join those groups and people. Try to build your online community. So when I was in college, I tried to explore. I have a lot of people where I can reach out to ask for my doubts. So if I want to learn, let's say specific technology, let's say artificial learning, I start joining those groups and start solving problem for others. So one of the best practice that I would say is start, like say, make your schedule in a day. You can invest some part on your hobby project, which is one of the problems that you think that you should solve. And then second, you should try answering. Let's say you are focusing on like you should be efficient in Java. So go to Stack Overflow, choose the tag called Java, and start answering, let's say, 5 people in a day. So if you see like you are solving 5 problems in a day for other people's with different concepts, and for solving that, you need to know some background knowledge, right? So you can do research along the line. But when you do solve problem for others, your knowledge will be much more compared to the self-learning. So in that way, if you see like in a month, you will be solving nearly like 150 problems and your knowledge will groom to another level. So this is like one of the practices that I used to follow. Try to solve like some X number of problems every day for others. And then second is try to build something on your own. So maybe in a week, you can have, let's say you want to build this, let's say a bot which can do this, right? So try to automate things, try to build some shell scripts, try to build some Python scripts, or maybe some front-end tasks. Maybe if you want to have some kind of to-do, customized to-do for yourself, let's say you want to organize something on Chrome browser itself, you can build some extension so you can have the knowledge of building extensions and backend knowledge. You can build any desktop application you have if you know like some of the frameworks. So basically is there are no interesting projects. The only thing is for me, it was like I used to look up like what is the interesting problem that I think that I should solve. So I did some of the quite interesting projects. So my main goal is supposed to be is I should learn the language and also some fundamental concepts about programming. So I have done like say search engine where I learn about different ranking algorithms, and also I've done like the front end, back end. I built a search engine which answers queries for people for tech queries. So it is built on top of Stack Overflow. So this is the problem that I think of, like I should not search on Stack Overflow. I should build some custom recommendation or maybe Q&A bot for myself. So something similar problem that you think of that you need to solve, just pick that. And the reason is why, because you will be highly motivated. You will not be fallback easily because that's a problem you think it's interesting, and that's a problem you think it's actually not making you productive. So you want to automate this, you want to build some product on top of it. So I think that's the best way for you to figure out the interesting project. And maybe you can do that for yourself. Just think about what you do in a day-to-day life and what is something that you feel it's boring for you and you want to build some automation on for that. And always think about your primary language or frameworks which you are really good, and try to build with those languages or frameworks. And always reach out to people, like reach out to if you stuck somewhere, try to reach out to different mediums. There's so many mediums. I don't see, like, if you stuck at any problem that you cannot get solved in a day, right? There is no such thing. So you need to be fight for yourself to reach out to different platforms, and your problems will be solved. So you cannot say like you'll be stuck at this thing, because I see like 95% of the problem that you search, you will find already on Google. And if not, then there is 5% that can be asked on these platforms. So yeah, maybe start thinking about those interesting projects for yourself. Anybody have any question? Monish, is it clear? Seelam, I know a few people now. Muhammad Ali, Banu. Okay, Muhammad Ali has a question. Full stack developer or data scientist, which is better and which one get more salary? Yeah. So again, so both can get you like even the salary. If you see like uh, full stack developer has also more salary than data scientist in some of the companies, but some of the companies it's vice versa. So it all depends. So let's say if you're working at any big tech companies, let's say the companies where it is not easy to get there, let's say Google, yeah, definitely you will get equivalent, or you will get maybe it can be vary from one or the other. So, but it all depends like where you land the job for a specific role. So that defines the salary. Now the question is the first question you have is which one is better. So it all depends your interest. So if you see data scientist, it is much more is like research oriented job. So when you are working on full stack development, you will not be much time reading. Let's say you will be reading blogs, but you will not be reading actually research paper. So I was myself was actually involved in building AI products, and so I was working with data scientists, and I see like you need to invest some time, much more time in just research. You need to find the best solution, the best model that can fit in. So if you are interested in towards like research oriented day-to-day job, then it will be like you can actually incline toward data scientist. And if you think something specific of which you build something and you can see something and that people can use it in their hands, then that is something the full stack developer role can fit in. So you need to find your interest. There is it just like none is better than other. It just like full stack developer has a different roles and responsibilities compared to data scientist. But if you're interested in research oriented thing, that you should go with data scientist. If you're much more interested in something which is like a day-to-day development and you can see the product building, and actually you will be interacting with the actual users. So data scientist role, the product which people work, it's mostly like a offline thing. It's not it's not something that is like users interacting, because you will be building some learning, let's say uh, learning algorithm, or maybe you will building some recommendation engine. So that is something more of passive. It will give you a passive outcome, but full stack developer is more of active outcome. Now you need to define, like maybe define for yourself which more excites you. And also like the salary one, I would say like it depends where you land the job, that defines the salary. But again, yeah, in general data scientists are very less, it's very less efficient so far, because it's a grooming job. This job has been like popped up in the last 20 years, but full stack was there for quite long. But again, the full stack developers is also, when they become senior, they move towards more on backend. So there is a scarcity left for the full stack developer as well, and there is a lot more competitive. If you see in Booking, there is only 100 full stack developers, so it's very hard to get there. But in general, if you see data scientists, yeah, there might be like say 500 data scientists. So it all depends on your interest for which one is better than others. But I would say like if you're a research oriented person, then go with data scientist. And yeah, if you're interested in more in mathematics, understand the equations like linear algebra, then those things, yeah, data scientist must be for you. But if it is like other way around, then full stack developer is also quite interesting. and you will be directly impacting customers, and you will be seeing your product using like by day-to-day users at scale. And again, I think I have answered maybe your both of the queries. Do you have like any further question, Mohammed, or anybody else? Or is it clear for you, Mohammed? I think so. If anybody have any question, maybe we can move next. If nobody has any question, then okay. So Mohammed has confirmed he got the point. You're welcome. Next is the best practice. So this is the I would say like what are the best practice that I have followed in my career to grow as a full stack developer, and not only as a full stack, but in general as a good programmer, what you need to know, right? The first thing is when you're trying to become a very good competitive uh, programmer, you need to be around the competitive people, right? So how does it started for me? So I was like one of the early top 500 programmer on HackerRank back in 2014. So I used to participate in different coding competitions. So I would say like start participate in the coding competition. So for also for full stack, you have top coder competition. So you have different competition like every week on top coder. So try to participate and try to interact with the people. Try to make maybe a good social friends for your professional sense. So that will help you to eventually share the knowledge and build your solid network. So if you have a good network of people or like competitive set of people, then your learning will be different. So if you just do it alone, then it might be different. You might think you know everything, but definitely if you try to interact with other people and try to learn with other people, that will definitely help you. The second is try to follow good people. So I used to follow like Google Tech Talk, and there are people who comes in Google Tech Talk. I used to follow their GitHub, LinkedIn, and see like what they updates like on a day-to-day basis, and try to follow their tech blogs. So that will help you to know actually how the people who are at, let's say at the scale of let's say at the top engineers, right? So you will be able to follow the best practices that they have followed. So try to see their GitHub, like how they're coding. Try to see their open source projects, how they used to code, right? And also similarly, you can do like the follow their journey, right? What they have done. So this is also help you a lot in terms of your personal, uh, let's say a personal enhancement of your or maybe personal grooming as a developer, and then also as a professional grooming. So, and then the next thing I already mentioned about help others to get help yourself. So if you start helping people, let's say 5 problems every day, you on Stack Overflow or maybe different groups or different Telegram groups or Facebook groups or Slack groups, that will help you a lot. Try to do that for 3 months. You will see yourself a domain expert in a specific language or a specific framework. And if you can't do like 5 problems, then at least do 2 problems, and 3 problems you try to read the solutions for. And then you will see like at least 150 problems in a month. And like if you see in an year, it's like you will not be having any problem or any domain in any of the language left if you do that. And over the period of time, in few years, you will be the domain expert. So this is the third thing which I would say. The fourth is that is also I've discussed about the hobby projects. Yeah, so hobby projects is something because you don't try to follow, like there is no, again, there is no interesting projects. Try to build something. And also you have to have that kind of a practice, like you have to build your portfolio like day by day, like every day. So what you can do today so that your resume will be like having a more good weightage. So you define your rank, your, let's say you have a X rank, your CV today, maybe what you should do today. So tomorrow it should be like X+1. So you need to learn a skill set. You need to build something you should be able to showcase online. So try to put your product online. If you're just developing things on local, you're downloading any project, so like open source, try to run on a local, that will not help. So you need to get the end-to-end knowledge as a full stack developer, like how to build the project and how to deploy it at least. So you should be able to have a link on your CV that will help you to shortlist at multiple places. So you need to be so this is like one of the best practice. Try to showcase your work. Try to build your resume or maybe your in general profile. Resume means is your skill set. So learn something every day, and that should be down the line you should be able to add it to your profile. So don't just build it, but also try to make sure you will be able to okay, just a minute, there is a question. Okay, once you complete you can direct. Okay, yes. So I will also talk about some of the like full stack development course. We have already worked on a lot of full stack development courses before there are a lot of sessions we have done, and there are the people who are got placed in very good startups and also pretty big companies. So yeah, so there are multiple. So as I discuss all the best practices, that is a part of like our whole course curriculum that Verzeo is having. So make sure so we will make sure like for you guys to apply the best practices while actually learning the full stack development, and that will eventually help you in your like day-to-day curriculum in your school, in your college, and also in your career, like when you let's say go after for internship or maybe job, that will like stand you out compared to some other students. So yeah, this is all about best practices. And does anybody have any question? Mohammed, Monish, Silam, I know a few names now. Bhanu. Yeah, so this was the last one. And yeah, about me, I have shared few of the links maybe with the PPT that you can get it from Verzeo, about my GitHub and my portfolio. I have a YouTube channel where you can watch some videos about the web technologies. And yeah, you can follow me LinkedIn and ask me if you have any queries. You can just text me anytime. So yeah, so in the end, this is just to give you an overview of like how it is like helpful for you. Okay, so in general, like why you need a kind of a course. Like first of all, the thing is like you can learn like any technology online. As I have already mentioned, that it's not hard to learn anything. The only thing is like you need to know the best practices to actually apply while learning a technology, right? If your attitude or if your the way you are approaching towards learning is not the prominent one, then you might not be stand out or you might not be that competitive down the line. So as you're in third and fourth year, I think this is the very right age or maybe right year for you to invest time, to invest in a course which can help you out to not only your personal, not only your professional technical skill set, but also in terms of uh, maybe setting the right expectation for you down the line, maybe for the initial few years and also the down the line. So there's a course that Verzeo is having it. Maybe you can take a look, and you will have a direct access with this Verzeo demo, which will be taken by this Vice President Verzeo. So I will definitely recommend you, and it can help you to align your learning and also your roadmap. And you are in right year. If you don't do it now, I think it will be pretty much late and very competitive down the line. If you see the competition is very high, and third year it's the right time to start. Fourth year, because you will be having placements, you will be having internship. So invest your time wisely, and I will definitely say the course will definitely gonna help you like in the short term and as well as in the long term. Anybody have any question? I think this is the uh, last slide, and maybe if you have any question, feel free to ask me. You have some time, maybe 5 more minutes. Maybe I think we are good, Sakshi.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, I'll take it from here.
Yeah, sure.
Hi guys, yeah. Hi guys, hi everyone. Very good evening. Myself Vinod. Let me introduce myself. So I'm working as a vice president sales over here, and I've joined this organization in the last couple of months. So I will do one thing. I will take you through the organization milestones and few other points. Just give me 2 minutes. I'm sharing my screen. In between, if you have any issue or any question, you can just, text me in the chat box or Sakshi, due to some technical issue, I'm not able to present. So can you please present the PPT?
Yeah.
Thanks. So guys, am I audible to all? Like Maithili, Shweta, Subhash, I can see few names over here, Vandana.
Yes, Vinod, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah, guys, so...
Is my screen visible?
Yes, now it's visible. Thanks. So guys, yes, we are Verzeo, building career paths for fresh graduates and early professionals. So as you know, Verzeo is an e-learning platform where we can help you building your future ahead while connecting with you with the various organizations. We can help you with the live projects over there, mentorships, and various other courses. So kindly have a look at this particular PPT. This will give you a fairly fair idea about the organization, our offerings and all. And if you have any questions, I mean, we can take questions at the end of this particular PPT. I'll be happy to answer all of them. So yeah, this is the first slide. I mean, like you see, I mean, Verzeo e-learning company determined to bridge the gap between college education and industry job requirements. Like I said, our mission is to make students industry ready by equipping them with skills. So you will be getting various courses, I mean, which will enhance your skills into various different fields, into domains. The kind of domains you're already pursuing, or might be the kind of domains which you want to pursue as due to interest, or you want to build career into that particular domain. So there are various programs, I mean, that are interactive, collaborative, and take place under the mentorship of industry professionals. So we make sure that we get very good premium mentors from the market and very good mentors, and that's I think biggest USP of Verzeo. So you will be getting very good mentors from across different organizations from India, and we are also trying other locations as well. So guys, I mean, in this particular slide, you can see our roadmap, basically journey so far. Like you can see, we have started in 2017, inception period for us. In 2019, we had a first milestone of 50,000 students for us. In 2020, we have the Microsoft Gold Partner recognition. That was a really nice achievement for us. In 2020, again, we had some 150,000 students trained across our table of 50 plus courses across technical, non-technical domains. And in 2001 and ahead, we are, I mean, going rapidly. We have introduced various different courses, and every year, I mean, lakhs of students, I mean, get trained by us. Yeah, next slide, please. Actually. Yeah, so see, we have bootcamp programs where we have two different kind of programs. One is self-paced, and the second one is mental-led. So basically, like name suggests, self-paced are those recorded sessions. So you can have those recorded sessions, and you can complete those sessions as per your time availability and convenience. Second, we have mentor-led live sessions with the mentors, which I was speaking, like, I mean, premium mentors from various different organizations and locations. So you can have a live sessions with them. You can ask your doubts to them, and that's again a very, very. I will really recommend you to go for mentor-led if you have time and if you can adjust to that. So you have access to LMS portal and doubt clearing sessions, of course. I mean, we have one minor and one major project bootcamp program. Then you will get a certificate of completion from Verzeo and co-branded certificate, right? You will get a certificate of completion. Course duration is of 2 months. So this is all about bootcamp programs which we have. Second, we have certification programs. Again, I mean, live lectures from industry mentors. You can run basics to the current industry standards. Here we have 2 minor and 2 major projects. Of course, again, you will get a certificate of completion from Verzeo. We also provide a placement and internship assistance over here, and the course duration is 4 months. So if I say placement and internship assistance, so we'll help you out with your resume building. I mean, what are the best practices in the market, how you should prepare for the interview and all. So this is all about certification programs which we have. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is next one is job-oriented programs. So this one is like a job guarantee program from Verzeo. Currently, we are providing into 3 different domains: full stack web development, human resource management, and digital sales and marketing. So I think it's a very, very premium course from Verzeo, and again, I mean, we have tied up with various good organizations, and we are continuously, I mean, in touch with various big brands, and we will be tying up with them soon. And again, the mentors and all very premium. So here we have 2 minor and 2 major real-time projects for you. Sakshi, one second. Let me complete that. Sakshi, please go back. Yeah, guys. So see, I mean, this job guarantee program is, I mean, again, it's a very, very best kind of program from Verzeo. If you can compare the kind of service which we provide and the kind of fee structure, then easily, I mean, this is the best program available in the market, in Indian market for sure. Apart from those projects, live real-time projects, we provide job guarantee assistance, and we provide job guarantee assistance till, I mean, 5 to 6 months after completion of the course. So that's again, I mean, we make sure that each and every student gets placed with a very good package, with very good organization and all. So yeah, next please. So here you can check the profile of some of our mentors. I mean, like we have mentors from Tesla, Adobe, Google, The Impression, Dell, Pixel, Data Sapphire, AVR. So we make sure that, I mean, we have mentors across different organizations, different locations, and I mean, we don't hesitate to hire premium mentors in the market. because for us, the quality matters. So if the delivery is good, the quality is good, and definitely, you will value the course more. You will also get more benefited. So you can yourself check the profiles of the mentors. They are like, very, very good mentors. Next, please. Yeah. So we also have media and magazine presence. Like you can check, there are a few names over here. We have presence across them, like Daily Hunt, Forbes, Flipboard, Business Standard, ANI. Yep. Here you can see, we have collaborated with various different organizations and companies. And like I said, we have a very good dedicated team who is continuously working with various organizations. And soon you can see, more good names over here. So currently we have tied up with Codian, Teachnook, MacHire, Tech Educate, right? Formula, and various other organizations to provide the job guarantee and other programs. Yeah, next please. So here I will highlight some of the achievements by Verzeo till now. So like I said, of course, we have a very we hire premium mentors. We lakhs and lakhs of students. We have already trained them, provide them certificates and jobs and all. Currently teaching over 5.6 lakh students with industry-ready curriculum. The mentors are from Fortune 500 companies with minimum experience of 5 years. So this we take it very strictly. The mentors, whoever we hire, we make sure they're from Fortune 500 companies and they have at least minimum 5 years of experience. For Futures of World creating webinars mentored by mentors with 10-year experience in the domain. Again, we make sure that they have a pretty good experience of 10 years at least. In this particular thing. Safeguarding the candidates by providing job guaranteed programs. Like I explained to you about our job guarantee program. So we make sure that after completing the course, you get 5 to 6 months of a job assistance where you will be giving all live interviews with various different organizations. We'll be helping you with the CV, resume building, mock interviews and all. And we make sure that each and every student gets placed as per their desire with good package, with good organization. We are currently providing courses to all management and technological domains, of course, and we have branches all over India. So we operate through various branches all over India. We have branches in North, South, West. So guys, this is little bit, about Verzeo. This is tip of iceberg, you can say. More you can get more information by visiting our website, by getting in touch with our sales team, and you can inquire about the courses, about the fee structure, and yep, I'm sure that you will be happy to see all the different kind of course details with the fee structure and all. So, my humble advice, like a little bit about myself. If I say, I myself, BTech background, electronics and telecommunication. After that, I've done my MBA from IIM Calcutta, and post that I have around 10 years of work. So when I joined this organization, I was really, very excited about the idea with which the Verzeo works, the kind of ethics and the kind of quality they deliver. So, so my advice to you is like, you should definitely go for the courses to, take your career to the next level. Because in this competitive world, if you will not have little bit edge from others, then it's really difficult to survive in this corporate world. And the kind of courses which Verzeo provides and the kind of fee structure, I think that is the best in the market. So please have a look, and definitely you should get in touch with the sales team. So guys, this is all from my side. Now you can ask me questions, any kind of doubt or questions you have. I will be happy to answer. Lakshya, can they unmute the mic and ask questions? Is it possible for them, or they will message?
They can put down the message in the chat box.
Okay. So guys, if you have any kind of questions or any doubts, so please, message in the chat box. Okay, guys, I think no questions. You all might be tired, or you might have understood everything. So great. Thanks for joining, and hopefully, we'll see you. Okay. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Visit verzeo.com, subscribe to our channel to know more.